we know why y'all here. You've seen the picture. We don't even have a title yet. But you've seen the photo on the podcast cover, and we know why you here. Drake dropped, and him and Joe Budden have been beefing. It seemed one-sided, but we gonna get there. Let me put it like this, man. We about to break this down, and we're not gonna be if you want to know Joe's response or our take on Joe's response or whatever, this ain't the episode for you. You should probably go listen to Joe's episode. It drops tomorrow. But Drake did drop an album for the dogs. And I have to be honest, he was talking to the wrong dogs, and we thought he was talking about the Rockwallers, the Pit Bulls, what's another big ass scary dog? Bulldogs. You know what I'm saying? He was talking about the Frenchies. He was talking about the baby dogs. He was talking about the dogs that the baddie who works at the bar. Yeah. He was talking about her dog.
You know what? So I did not listen to Drake's album, right? Because
you're aged out.
I am aged out, and this is something that I had to realize was when I read Joe's response, he wasn't wrong in the traditional sense of we're used to seeing rap artists grow up. Like, we grew up with Nas, like, you know, as Nas matured, we matured, right? We grew up with Jay-Z, right? Jay-Z music changed, right? When Jay-Z dropped, so we talk about like 1999, right?
Yeah.
When Jay-Z dropped back then, right? Jay-Z's targeted demographic for music was, 14-year-olds to 30-year-olds.
Okay.
Right? Basically like a 15-year window, right? When Jay-Z dropped the album at 30, right? His targeted demo was the same crowd.
Yeah.
It wasn't a different crowd, right? It was everybody that grew up with him. All right.
Okay.
But when he first dropped the album for the first time, that wasn't like 30 plus wasn't his targeted demo.
Okay.
He grew into that, and then he made, all right, my target demo now is going to be 21 to 36, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So I think we're used to that as hip hop fans and artists. Drake's done something completely different, right? In the streaming era, right? When Drake first dropped, his targeted demographic was 16 to 30, right?
Yeah.
Like all of us that fell within that, we listened to it.
Absolutely.
Now that we're older, Drake's targeted demo is still
16 to 30.
16 to 30.
So let's do this. If you do not know, maybe you hear from the podcast, maybe you hear because you want to laugh. We are in Charlotte. I am born and raised here. Mike has been here forever. He's basically a Charlatan, but he is still...
I still claim my home.
He's still Fairfield till he out of here.
That's it.
And with that being from Charlotte, Drake dropped 8 a.m. in Charlotte. And let me let y'all know, I was totally disgusted. I was let down.
I have not heard it yet.
You don't need to hear it.
Is it not good?
No, it's the worst out of the bunch.
Let me Google the lyrics.
It's just dry. Charlotte. It's slow. Most time when Drake does these timestamp records, they upbeat, they up tempo. He talking his shit on there, and I'm trying to figure out which Charlotte girl that he hit up or hit him up that he met when he was out here. And I got a couple of y'all who I'm thinking it couldn't have been.
Can't say their name. You can say where they work and how they look, maybe.
Nah,
can't say their names.
Man, yo, I know who he should have hit up if he wanted the right timestamp record. Yo, Kenyelle could have hit her up, man.
You got to show me who all these people are.
I can show you, man.
You have to show me all these people are.
Look, Kelly, he could have hit up. You know what I'm saying? You don't know who she is. Wallace she probably hit him up, man. It's some baddies who he could have hit up.
Drake looked like he likes to slum it though.
I don't know. And I'm gonna tell you this. All jokes aside, I grew up. If you don't know, I used to work at a hotel. I used to work for the Ritz-Carlton, and Drake stayed there. And let me tell you, it's never been a rapper who stayed there who's more clean, more low key, and more just about his business than him, and which throws you off. I've seen rappers come in trash rooms. I've seen rappers have girls come in rotation. I've seen it. Drake, it's no smoking in there. It's no ordering drinks in there. You never see anybody go up or down. It was very, very, very low key. Now, mind you, this was the Nothing Was the Same days. How long ago this was, right? And he was chill. He was still the number one rapper at that time, but he was super, super chill. Now, I don't know. But so 8 a.m. in Charlotte come out, and automatically I'm disappointed. And then I see the track list and I see 8 a.m. in Charlotte's on there. When I hear an album called For the Dogs, I'm thinking it's go time.
Yeah. It's about to be what's the toxic rapper name? Future.
Oh, Future is my guy. I see Virginia Beach on there, so I'm like, oh, Pusha T getting smoked, first record off, right? I see What Would Pluto Do, so I already know It's basically a Future, like we talking about Future. I see Sexy Red and SZA on there, so I'm super excited. Yo, I love Sexy Red. I'm letting y'all know that right now. Let me tell you why I love Sexy Red. She is making these half-ass I'm nasty chicks either be quiet or step it up, because she just off the chain, right? So I'm looking at this, and then funny enough, I see Joe catching smoke, because this weekend I actually traveled out of town, and I didn't get to hear. I left my AirPods back at home, bro, so I couldn't even listen to the album or the pod. And so I get back home, and so I listened to the album at first, and I'm just going through skimming, and then people keep texting me, yo, what you think about the album? And then they'll let me know, like, yo, it's a letdown. And I'm like, why? And they was like, yo, the narrative was already out that, yo, Drake is around young girls. So I listened to the album, and
we got to be clear of that, because that's dangerous wording, right? Young girls, right? What are we talking about? We talking about college freshmen? We talking about women in their 20s? Because y'all have adolescents the fuck out of women.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I'm looking at young chicks. Give me an age, and I'll tell you what's too young.
21.
No, I'm talking about the age of the man. My fault.
Oh, the age of the man?
Yeah.
How old is Drake? 35?
35, 36?
Yeah.
Drake shouldn't be talking to no woman under the age of 25.
Oh, I mean, look, I'm not mad at the take. So when we say young girls, we're saying that he's talking to women under the age of 25?
Sure. For his age, yeah. But I mean, I'm looking at that, yo, so when I'm listening to it, it does give that young girl feel. Like, yo, these are the young baddies. It reminds me of my tape of the concert. I told y'all I was in there, and there was a bunch of like 21, 22, 24-year-olds in there who didn't even know. They only know the music that he's making for now.
Yeah. Well, so, on one of the shows that I like, it's like where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So, using that analogy, right, where Joe Budden is right and where Joe Budden is wrong, right? When Joe Budden is like, yo, Drake is making music for the kids, right? Mm-hmm. All right, he's right about that, right?
Absolutely.
But when you look at streaming numbers, right, adults aren't streaming shit.
Facts.
We don't have time. So if it's a business decision, then Drake has to make music for 16 to 28-year-olds, because those are where the streaming numbers are coming from, in his industry.
Do he have to?
He doesn't have to, but if he's about money, that's what he's going to do. That's what he's going to do. And I'm going to say this. Anything from a college graduate woman or higher, that's a woman, man. I don't do this. I don't stretch adolescence to 28 for women, because we only do this for black men.
Okay. No, we don't. We do it.
They've been trying to get Leo DiCaprio.
He's a creep.
They've been trying, but
he's a creep.
But he keeps getting movies. No one talks about it. It's not on the news. It's the same small white feminist crowd that keep trying to label him, and everybody ignores it.
Well, because here's my thing. I think it's weird that dudes that are grown can somehow relate to young women. I
don't think they're trying to relate to young women. I think they're trying to sleep with them.
No. If I'm dating you, I'm trying to relate to you. I don't even know how you get a young girl in your bed without talking to her if she's too young.
Because you're talking about sex, right? It's just sex.
No.
That's all it is. Dude, they're not. Look, the dudes that actually try to marry, women that are not interested in them, like the guy from Real Housewives that keep making the clips where, he's like, yo, he gave his wife a pass and all this other stuff. Yeah, like you're going to get taken advantage of if you're actually trying to wife up a woman that's not interested in you. Yeah. But like for a Drake that's making young music, like if he's sleeping with a woman, right? She's in grad school. Like, dude, he's not trying to get to know her. Okay, he might trick off, but he ain't trying to get to know her.
And so none of these are qualities of men. Let's keep it a buck. Like if I'm 36, I'm 35 right now. I'm about to be 35, right? It's nothing that me and a 24-year-old can talk about for me to even get her to my bed. Like it's nothing. When you come
she's horny. The only thing you got to talk about is like, yo, come up to the presidential.
Okay, cool. So I go to her, and so then guess what? If a baby come out of that, if some other shit come out of that, you as a man can't be mad. You got to live with that.
Yeah, you do have to. Yes, I would agree. You have to live with the consequences of your actions.
So here's the thing. When I come up to a young girl and she say, "Hey, I'm such,"
she's not a young girl. Let's stop calling them young girls. These are grown women. These are women, bruh. We can't tell them they can make OnlyFans and then make them girls simultaneously.
No, they are young girls.
We can't tell them that they can be.
They are not underage.
We can't tell them that they strippers. We can't tell them that they could be OnlyFans girls. We can't tell them that they could be bottle girls. We can't tell them that they could do all the things that adults could do. But then when it comes to the consequences of their decision, well, y'all was too young. Like, no, fuck that. Because we don't do that for young boys.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't. When young boys go out and commit a crime at 18, we don't look at them and be like, you know what?
Yes,
you probably gonna be better at 24.
No,
we don't. We throw the book at them.
You moving the goalposts. I'm not talking about crimes. We're not talking about people that's underage. We're not talking about crimes. So let's not do that. When these young niggas be out here shooting, or let's do it like this. When these young boys be in the comments talking shit, we call them young boys all the time. When a young athlete who's 22 gets got by a sniper, and we call him, yo, that's some young boy shit.
Yeah, we do. So let's keep it, but we call it immature, right? Like no one
absolutely. No one start calling these young chicks immature.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like call them immature, right? Don't make them extended adolescents.
Bruh, for the old heads that like young bitches, I get it. Y'all can have them, but when you come to, and this is the problem with dating right now, because when dudes who are of a older age, and I'm talking about mid-30s, when they get caught by a sniper, then they want to get mad and they want to call out these women and say, yo, I was giving her hall passes. No, bruh. Yeah, you dating young chicks.
And we're going to clown him for that, right?
No, I'm clowning everybody on it, because this is the problem with the dating world. When old dudes get done, they in their late 30s, early 40s, and they come out and they want to know why these girls, because they call them girls then. It's like, why is they gold diggers? Why, bro? They 23. They don't want you. They want to live their life. They want to travel. They want to be on Instagram. They want to act wild. Let them act wild. That's who they are. So when I'm looking at this, yes, when I'm listening to Drake. Let me do it like this. Drake, Kendrick, Beyonce, they are probably, as far as like our music, they are one of the few people who, when they drop, they shift music so much that their crowd is going to follow. So if Drake said, yo, I wanted to make a 444 album, them young kids still going to listen to him.
I agree.
So when I'm listening to the songs and you talking about some, I thought I was bi because you like one of the fellas.
Hey, he said that?
No, see, that's my problem, dog. Like when you listening to it and you putting Sexy Red on the song, right? When you over here and you talking about all the girls, I got them packed in a room like sardines.
I used to be a Drake fan, but I evidently, again, I've aged out of Drake. Right?
Absolutely, but he's and I'm gonna say it again. He's talking to the youngins, and I'm not doing I don't think Drake is. Let me put it like this. When we was younger, I always thought it was weird that NSYNC was 24 making songs for 14-year-olds. All right. That's still weird to me. That is a real thing. They were literally making songs as grown men or young boys for kids. And I'm separating it now. And part of me, I understand your argument, because growing up, and I don't want to circle this back to the church, but I got to. I used to think it was weird when they used to call people young adults. It's like, no, this nigga's an adult. Right? So I get your point. Yeah. But I'm always looking at now. On the flip side, Drake had this whole issue with, yo, Joe has always hated on me, because I think most people heard Joe's point and agreed. Now, also, before I get to this whole thing of like, you always been a hater, Drake, I don't know if somebody showed you the clip, but in reality, 80% of Joe's take was he liked the album. He was like, yo, it's cool. Some of this ain't for me. And a lot of the hosts were like, yo, we're going to pick out the songs we like and we're going to keep it moving. But it was one of them things, like, you could tell when it's young, hot girls in the room. And look, women deem themselves that name. And it's like, yo, we got the hotties in the room. Yep, this is what's going to make them wild out. And so, but Drake had this take of like, yo, you've always hated on me.
Well, I mean... All right, so quiet as kept. All right, Joe Budden is definitely the pod father. Hopefully this will not stop him from letting us host for him when he goes on vacation. But Joe's pod is low-key known as a hater pod. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of on brand. So I don't think that Joe was hating as much as Joe doing what Joe does. Like that's what Joe does. It's just Drake is a huge star. Right, like that's the problem. Drake is almost bigger than life. Like, what male artist is bigger than Drake right now?
He got one more to Michael. which
like he
should be an asterisk by it, but whatever.
Yeah, definitely be an asterisk by it. But like he is the largest male star right now.
Well, let me ask you this: Is Joe just simply giving his opinion? And because as podcasters,
it had a little animus in it. I don't think it was just his opinion. I think that they're 1 degree of separation somewhere.
So me and you have been doing this for easily 2 years.
Oh yeah, it's 3. Yeah.
By the way, I was listening to Poor Minds on Joe. Them girls just started their podcast in like 2018 and 19. Yeah. They had nobody. They was talking. I found an old article with Lex talking about starting the podcast. And you fast forward it now 5 years later. We got some years to put in, but we almost there. But the thing is, I know, right? I know. I meant to send you that article.
Hey, please send it to me.
I'm like, Mike gonna be so mad at this. Because it was just her. It was an article about something else going on in her life. And she was just like, yeah, I'm about to start this podcast called Poor Minds. And I'm like, damn, that was 5 years ago. Like it takes, but I say that to say me and you been podcasting, and I think a lot of times we give our opinions, right? On life, whether it's parenting, whether it's just men shit. Me and Mike have had this young girl argument off mic plenty of times.
Yeah.
So we have arguments, and it's actually cool to see us disagree, because Mike will suck you into just agreeing with his ass and trick you on the podcast. So it's good to see us disagree. But I would say this. Sometimes
salesman, baby.
Absolutely, man. It is interesting. People hear our takes and they think A is law, B that we don't think we can be corrected.
Yeah.
And then they don't think that they can be corrected. So I'm asking, how do you feel about it? Is Joe just giving his opinion?
Yeah, I know. Hey, low-key, I don't think Joe likes Drake. Wow. So I think the opinion is coming. It is coming across a little bit rough. Than Joe normally speaks, right? I think this is it was a layup for Joe to dunk, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? And like, yo, and everybody loves dunking on people, right? It happens in our comment section once a fucking week. We get dunked on, right? Like, people take the low hanging fruit all the freaking time. So I just think when you give individuals the ability to lob that bitch. Yeah, and like Drake lobbed it because let's be honest. Drake last 2 albums, everybody who was Drake fans have kind of been falling off of the bandwagon. So it was easy that was an easy layup for when this album dropped and it wasn't the old Drake. It was easy for Joe to be like, yeah, I'm about to dunk on this dude.
Yeah, let's keep it a buck. You said that. You also said in the group chat, I love exposing our group chat. I think you and Ez exposing our group chat, probably, it wasn't even 2 albums ago. It might have been 4. Y'all was like, yo, I think he on the decline.
Yeah.
And I think this album does not help that case. As a huge Drake fan, I'm gonna be honest with you. This album was lackluster. It is 5 songs on there that I will play. That Sexy Red and SZA song, I'm gonna keep saying it. That's getting played.
I gotta listen to this dumb song in the car on the way back. They
sample what's that? At night, I think of. They sample that. That sample always works.
That sample does always work. See, I don't even know who that is.
No,
because I barely know who that is.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell y'all this. Let me do this about Drake right quick, because I'm about to. Oh shit. Oh, never mind. It ain't gonna play. I was about to play Bongos by Cardi B. That song failed.
Well, I mean, all right. So fair use, and we got to keep it under.
No. I wasn't going to play something. I accidentally hit something. Let me do it like this. More Life came out. That was good. Scorpion was a little bit over the top. You know, Drake was going through a lot. The Baby. After that, this Dark Lane demo tapes. Certified Lover Boy. I loved Honestly Nevermind. I ain't gonna lie. I love that album. Plus, it was cool to hear it in Vegas. But for the masses, it was The Her Loss, that shit, I think I only like 3 songs on it. So Drake is probably about 4 albums down. And this album doesn't help. Now, I will say this. Shout out to the Southeast. Pusha T, this is another score for you, whether they want to admit it or not.
How does the score for Pusha T?
Birdman coming out and threatening Drewski and Joe. And y'all got to stop putting threats and criminal activity on the internet.
Y'all have to stop putting it on the internet for real, for real.
That is a score for Pusha T, because Pusha T said for the longest, yo, Ross has been calling out Birdman and Birdman won't say nothing to Rick Ross. And that is true. Drake's dad coming out and writing a paragraph calling Joe Budden an old hater, not realizing that his son and him would have went to high school together, is a win for Pusha T. Why? Because Pusha T said, yo, keep Dennis Graham off the internet. He even said, yo, a Steve Harvey dress nigga made him. And if you ever see Drake's dad, he does dress
he does just like old head.
And then
More Life was like the last good Drake album. Now that I'm looking at his discography.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
More Life was like the last good one.
And I want to get to this topic, man. Yo, Pusha T did bring out in his episode on Joe's podcast. I always go back to this every time I do a review of Joe's thing. He brung up how Drake has these weird frenemies relationships. And his most noticeable one is Drake and Kanye. Right? They love each other, but they hate each other. They take shots at each other. They support each other, and it's weird. Drake and Joe have that same relationship. Drake will big him up and take shots. Drake will, say thank you, or Drake will do weird stuff. He won't never come on the show with Joe, and then he'll be listening to someone like, "Oh, Joey, they playing your song," and it'll be pump it up in the background. It's like all that weird shit. And I thought it was interesting over the weekend to see Joe's co-host point out, shout out to Ice, that's the homie. I thought it was interesting to see them say, hey, nah, I don't play those games with Drake. I'm not the playing type. If I don't like you, I don't like you. If you don't like me, you don't like me. And it's weird, like seeing grown men be frenemies, man. It's just weird.
It is. I mean, it is weird, but I mean, I can understand how it happened because I mean, I think low key we have like people that. Pretend to like us that really don't like us.
Oh, facts.
In the pod world. So I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Like I'm not really mad at that. Stop communicating threats over the internet. That's not real G shit. Just give y'all boys a heads up. We actually had to correct a young man last week, right? Because for one, all right. So for one, anything that you post on the internet in the comment section, you cannot enrage me to actually want to fight you. Much less actually want to take your life. So stop communicating threats over the internet, over stuff people say on the internet. That's not G shit. That's not gangster shit. That's not how people move. 2, I would never, ever, ever incriminate myself over the fucking internet with a fucking threat.
And if you think you deleting it, takes it away.
And especially over state lines. Y'all guys gotta stop doing that. Lastly,
it's the young boys.
Old guys, stop fighting. All right? We too old to fight. We are too old to fight. I went to the playground with my son probably a couple years ago, and they had these little lily pads that you jump on, and I was like, jumping behind him, bro. I don't have balance like I used to. I know. I was like, I do not have balance. And the most important thing in a fight is your fucking balance. All right. Facts. So to y'all that never have gotten into fights that think that you're 40 and 50 and you gonna go out there and rough somebody up. It ain't happening, bro. It is not happening.
I'm so damn lazy. When my son running around in the cul-de-sac, I stand in the middle of the cul-de-sac. I let him run on the sidewalk because I'm like, I can't chase you.
Fighting is hard against people that know how to fight.
Absolutely.
Leave it alone.
Let me wrap this up. What do I think about to happen next? I think Drake and Joe about to piece it up. I would not be surprised if Joe gets on his episode tomorrow on Wednesday and it's just like, you know what? Whatever. I think this is a beautiful rollout.
What? Yeah, it would be weird. It would be weird. It'd be funny if Drake was actually on the Joe Budden pod.
Yeah.
That would actually be hilarious.
Let me tell you this. I think it would be hilarious. I don't think it'll ever happen for one reason and one reason only. Drake is known to own the fouls when he comes on your pod. Meaning that he comes in and it's his crew. It's we own the final cut. We put this out. We will send you what you're going to put out. I would love to know how did that work with LeBron James on the shop, because I think LeBron is one of those only people. I think LeBron would give him, yo, we'll let you do this. You can, we'll put it out. But it is known that Drake does that, and it is known that Joe does not do that at all.
Well, I mean, Joe is the podfather, man. So like, and like low key, when I looked at Drake's response, that was definitely very, very, that was lame. I ain't gonna lie. Drake's response was lame, right? I'm richer than you. Like that's always a lame go-to.
Especially when it's videos of you coming out saying, yo, I used to rap like him.
Yeah, that's always a lame go-to. I'm richer than
Drake
you.
always beef with the people who they must have, look, Pusha T must have dissed him, Kanye must have dissed him, and Joe must have dissed him like when he was coming up. Because he's been documented on, having admiration of Kanye. He's definitely, he bought a Pusha T microphone off of eBay. Like there's a video of that. You know what I'm saying? You've come out, you talked to Joe's ex-girls. Y'all shared a hookah together. You can't be with a nigga you shared a hookah with.
Yeah. I don't like that I'm richer than you. And I mean, let's give Joe Budden credit. Like Joe Budden as a rapper, he was successful, right? Now he wasn't one of the greatest of all time, but he was successful, right? And he is like, name a bigger black podcast than Joe Budden's podcast.
It's not one.
It's not one. It's like this dude is literally the podfather.
And I think the reason why I think this would be a great rollout, because it helped them both.
It did.
It helped them both.
It did.
And Drake, his album's going to shatter all the numbers. He going to do another tour on this. I do hope Drake does take, some years off. I do believe, looking at it and looking at him and his kid, and he looks like he's enjoying like fatherhood.
He does. He's definitely his melanin is not putting up a fight worth a damn with his agent. So I mean, I give him that.
Well, no comment. And I was looking at before we go to the next thing, I was looking at T.I.'s son.
But the Barrettes and shit, that's too much.
Yeah, well, I mean, Drake's sassy, but y'all knew that already. I was looking at a video of T.I.'s son on a new podcast. And only the clip was, I didn't really pay attention to it, but I thought it was interesting hearing him talk about how he was raised by his grandparents. And I took that correlation to, this is why you don't respect your parents, right? And I say that to say, I think a lot of these celebrities do have to get to a point where they look at it and say, all right, I gotta do my part with my kid because I don't want them growing up with that. And I think Drake is going to take some time to say, all right, my kid is old enough. Let me take 2 years and let me sit at home with him.
I mean, he can sit home. I mean, he's super rich. Now, I think Drake is running into the MJ problem. MJ as in Michael Jackson problem of what is his spending like? Because this staying in this 14 to 28-year-old market, for streams and for touring, like how long is that sustainable? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like 40, like it looks weird because we've never seen it done before. Yeah. Right. And I'm wondering is like, Drake, like to his point, right, of flying his 747 jet, right, and saying Budden takes first class, like
occasionally.
Yeah, occasionally. Right? So it was a shot, but it's a lame it's a lame swing.
Two people can be right.
Yeah, but yeah, it was funny. But like that, how sustainable is that, right? Like if Drake, to your point, right, if he want to take a few years off, but if Drake's spending is absurd or astronomical, can he really afford to take time off? So I don't know. Like Drake is moving into a territory that we haven't seen before, and I think that's making it look weird. I can't really say that he's wrong from a financial or a business standpoint. Yeah. What I will say is that, all the dudes who was real, that like, what I'm saying? Like Drake being able to make emotional music and becoming a star was because black men got behind him, was just like, yeah, this is new, this is different. I really rock with that, right? That audience is gone now. Yeah. Like we ain't really rocking with them. So like, is it sustainable? That's all I'm saying.
True that. Is this sustainable? Hold on. Y'all know I love this. Look at me.
I'm gonna go get a hall pass and a freebie. Why can't I get one? It's a two-way street. This is the problem with men. They want everything to go their way. A man should get a hall pass.
He should.
He wants one.
Yeah.
People want a lot of shit. That don't mean they should get it.
Right, but you have a hall pass, but I want one too.
Whoa.
Exactly where I'm going.
When you do that type of shit, you opening the floodgates to bullshit. Either you got an open relationship or you do not.
Hello.
And what if that bitch coochie better than yours? What if he nutted her?